Hi, welcome to GTS Distributions Come and Play Day here in Seattle. My name is Rodney Smith from Watch It Played, and I'd like to invite you to join me as we take a look at one of the many games being featured here at this event. So let's go into the Watch It Played room and see what's on the table next. All right, well, I've been joined by Randy from Steve Jackson Games, and you brought something with you. What is it you have here?
I've got a Castellan.
Okay.
It's reminiscent of the old pen and paper dot and line game.
I know this game. I played this game with my son. My dad played it with me.
We played it in the car rides when we were kids before before electronic devices were really as prevalent as they are now.
Now, this looks like it's a little more advanced than that, though.
It is. Your goal in this game is to play cards from your hand to enclose areas on the board. Both players will be playing on the same area, so you don't want to leave any openings for your opponents to take advantage of. They don't want to leave too much open for you.
Right.
But everything you do leaves a little bit more that somebody else can...
They can build off of.
Yes, they have to build off of.
Okay, okay.
When you enclose an area, you'll put one of your own keeps inside of that area. Oops.
So these enclosures can be any size and configuration just as you build onto it?
They need not be square.
Okay.
Everything's going to have 90-degree angles in it, but it could wind up being a giant weird shaped thing, depending on how many cards you play.
Okay.
That's one of the tricks of it. Is your hand is your resources, so your hand represents your resources.
Okay.
So resource management is important because you'll start with a hand of 4 cards, and you must play at least 1 card each turn. So as you play cards from your hand, you get all of the pieces that are on those cards.
Okay. And these are your building options for your turn, then?
These are your building options. They're essentially your dot and lines. They're walls and towers, but they're what you're going to be building your enclosures with. You have to use every piece you generate. If for some reason you can't use it, you have to pass it to the next person and they'll be forced to use it.
So you could be potentially leaving some opportunities for your opponent, right? As you're using these pieces up, you have to make a decision, how am I going to leave these other dangling pieces that are going to be left over that someone else can build off of?
Exactly.
Is that the idea? Okay.
So you want to use the right cards for the right circumstances. As the structure grows larger, there are more opportunities for scoring. But with a small structure like this, you're kind of limited, but as it grows and grows and grows, there are more edges and more places where you could get some real points.
So let's say you did something like this. So can you show me how you might start to piece this together here?
We're assuming I'm green here, although green. Let's
say yellow claim that.
Let's claim yellow has that one.
Yeah.
With these towers, I could do a couple of things. Most likely, we'll just dry fit them.
Sure. Yeah.
Most likely, I would do something similar to this. But since I have extra towers left and extra wall pieces, I may choose instead to build like this, allowing me the opportunity, and I'll actually fit them.
Ah, I see. So you're able to use up more of your pieces to create the same enclosure.
To create the same thing. Not only that, but once someone has claimed an area, they're the only ones who can build inside of it. So when an area is closed, you put one of your keeps inside to mark it.
Okay.
Once per game, it doesn't have to be the first time or the last time, but once per game you have the option of putting in 2 keeps, and this will count as a double score at the end of the game. And your score is equal to the number of towers that touch an area surrounding one of your keeps.
Oh, so this is a whole other layer then. Okay, so on top of building these structures, then you have to decide, okay, this is the one that's going to yield me the most points. I want to double down here.
And you have to do it as you build it rather than later on deciding, oh, that one was really good, I'm gonna get that.
Okay, interesting.
But once green or yellow has taken an area, later on, if yellow plays something and has an extra long piece left, yellow could say, well, I'm going to put it in the middle.
Oh, I see it. You just partitioned.
And partition it off, and there I've got. Now I've got 2, and this is great for yellow because instead of getting the 6 points that it would have, it will get 4 plus 4 because it's counting the center 2 twice.
Okay.
So yellow, instead of throwing that away or giving it to green as a possibility for him to score, he's now netted himself 2 points with just that 1 piece. And the same with green. He might not do it here, but even if he were to drop this one in the center later on, rather than having it over there where yellow could capitalize on it. Now green gets 2 more points just for that being in there. Even though it doesn't really function to enclose the area, it's inside of his zone, so it will be counted double, and that will increase the score of this area at the end of the game.
This is a 2-player game here that we're looking at right
what
here,
we're looking at is the green and yellow set.
Yeah.
We have a green and yellow and a red and blue set.
Right.
They're 2 different sets. The MSRP is $35.
Okay.
One set is a 2-player game. However, you could purchase the red and blue and have maybe a couple that you know purchase the green and yellow, and when you get together, you can put them all together and play a 3 or 4-player game.
Okay, right. So they can be merged together.
Yeah, the length of the game will increase just because there's more time before you play again,
yeah.
But it's not truly a significantly huge amount of time, provided you're not playing with people with a tremendous amount of analysis paralysis.
Sure. Well, actually, that brings up an interesting question. So if a couple players know the game well and they know the rules or whatever, how long would a typical 2-player game take, would you say?
Assuming they're not impetuous players and they
Right.
don't just throw things down.
Yes, they're putting some thought into it.
I think it's about 45 minutes
Okay.
for 2 players. And it's a great 2-player game because different strategies work at different times. And depending on what your decks yield, you're kind of at the mercy of them sometimes. Because you have a wall deck and a tower deck. Each card in the wall deck
Yes.
has to have at least 1 wall on it. Every card in the tower deck has to have at least 1 tower.
Okay.
So
there are both. There are walls and towers on.
Yes.
But there's going to be if you know for sure I need to get some towers.
you go to the tower deck. You could gamble with the wall deck.
Yes.
But really, if you need towers, you say, well, I know I can get at least 1 in here.
Well, that's interesting because there's an element of randomness to this, right? But you have some control over that because you can go, okay, I need
Yes.
this more than I need that, so I'm going to go towards the tower deck.
And my 2 decks, my 7 cards in the tower deck and 7 cards in the wall deck, are the exact same cards that are in your wall and tower deck. They're not
Okay.
different.
Okay.
The only thing different would be the order.
Right.
And as I said before, you may play as many cards as you want on a turn, at least 1, but you only draw 1 at the end of the turn. The exception is when you've played one of these Castellan card symbols.
Yes.
For every one of these that's played on your turn, you draw 1 additional card. So if you are down to only playing 1 card and you play one of these, you can draw up to 2 and kind of try to rebuild your hand. There are only 3 of these spread throughout the 2 decks.
Okay.
So it's not an unlimited resource, but
So there's a resource management thing happening here as well. How many of these do I want to dump, and will that hurt me later?
well, is it the right point in the game
Right.
for me to play 3 cards,
Yes,
or should
okay.
I be playing, leaving opportunities for my opponent, but gaining myself some time for the board to grow a little larger? Or is it a golden opportunity for me to play something like this and net 4 points?
Yeah.
And,
right.
and just take something away from him? Do I wait? Do I go? And those decisions, with a 2-player game, since the scores are based off of the towers,
yeah.
in a 3 or 4-player game, there are physically more towers in the game, so the scores tend to get higher,
Of course,
and
right.
you get more and more opportunities. But yeah, the only other difference between the green, yellow, and red, blue besides color is the red and blue set has English rules in it.
Yes.
The green and yellow has English, Spanish, French, Italian, and I believe German.
Okay.
Okay. I might be wrong on those languages, but it's multinational.
There's a mix of mix
it's
of languages.
so you'll get 4 more sets of rule books that you may not need, but English is inside of it.
Yeah.
So you easily, especially in the United States, have a very easy time of getting both sets and having
Okay.
all the rules you need to play both of them.
Well, so listen, if someone is curious about finding out more about the game, you've given a very good overview of this, but like, where should they go? Where should they be looking for that?
For any of the Steve Jackson Games products, you can go to sjgames.com
Yeah.
and find your way through from there. There's a lot of stuff on our website. There's the
Okay.
Daily Illuminator, which is a great, it's a blog from before blogs were blogs.
Yes.
For this specific game, you could go to Castellan, Castellan,
Okay.
.sjgames.com.
Perfect. We'll put a link to that with the video as well.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Well, listen, Randy, I want to thank you for taking the time to showing this to us and letting us know how the game works. And I want to thank all of you, of course, for watching as well. So until the next episode, we'll see you later.